Welcome to episode 2 of Tunes, Tones, and Tech. I am your host, Tage. This is a show where we sit down with working musicians and creatives to talk about the songs, the sounds, the tools that shape who they are as artists. Today's guest is Jonah Wisneski, a guitarist and musician who is based right here in Denver, Colorado. We'll talk about his musical journey, the influences that have shaped him, the gear that he gravitates towards, and the ideas and concepts that drive his guitar playing. So whether you're a musician, a gear nerd, or just someone who loves honest conversation about music, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me, man.
I'm glad you're here. This is fun.
Yeah, this is, I absolutely just love talking about this stuff. So.
This is perfect for me because I love talking about it too.
Great. Yeah, I'm pumped to be here.
So you brought some cool stuff with you, which is great.
Yes. Yeah.
You want to tell me what you've got here?
The stuff that I brought today, I would say is my kind of like, a lot of the stuff I'm playing is going to be built off of these guitars. So this is I think it's like a 2012 65 reissue Jazzmaster. And then this is actually I don't know if it's 03 or 04. This is what's known as a 333 Gibson, which was, I guess there was this brief period where Gibson made this 333 guitar. It was the same thing as a 335 minus the inlay on the headstock, no block inlays on the fretboard, and then no pick guard. And then everything else was the same, has a nitro finish. And they made them as almost like a studio, like a Gibson studio thing. It's different, but that was I think the idea behind it, less ornate and so cheaper.
It's just all about the sound.
Yeah, and then what ended up happening, I guess, is that these guitars started to cut into the sales of 335s because it was cheaper.
Sure.
Same guitar essentially, minus again, some of the inlay stuff. And so then they stopped making them.
Okay.
And so this is a 333 that I've switched out the pickups, different tailpiece and bridge. And I put sort of low wind P90 style pickups in.
Okay.
So to me, it's like a hybrid 335, 330-esque.
Okay.
That's what I'm going for with it. So yeah, that's that. And then I've got my pedal board and my 1974 Princeton reverb.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Now, when I was young, I had the Princeton chorus, which is the solid state
Oh yeah, I know those.
version of the stereo thing.
Sure.
And for me, that was just so fun to have
Yeah.
that chorusy effect.
Oh,
In fact,
yeah.
I think the chorus effect was the first guitar effect
Yeah.
I ever experienced. Paul Musso was my guitar teacher when I was young. And
Awesome.
one day he brought in this, I think it was a DOD, super chorus or whatever.
Yeah.
And he plugged it in, I was like, what's that sound? It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And
I feel like all the pedals, it's they're just that quick in a box transition to a new sound.
Yes.
It's just I can't think of as many things out there where you get that.
It's the easy button. It's
Yeah.
super cool.
It's now, here's this. Here's the flavor.
Yes.
Just with a push of a button.
Oh man, it's so fun. I'll get a Jazzmaster someday. I've got a Jaguar that's kind of similar,
Yeah.
but it's I guess do they call it a 7/8 scale? Because it is scaled
Yeah,
down.
I just think of it as short scale, and I don't even know what the scale length is itself, but I just think of, short scale.
It's fun. It's fun. I actually just picked that up in a store one day. There was a used guitar sitting there, and I plugged it into a nice amp, and I was like, the tone on this thing's amazing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed playing it because since it's smaller, I don't have huge hands.
Yeah.
I'm not like John Mayer or
Right.
like Stevie Ray Vaughan, who
Yep.
dwarf a Strat.
Sure. Yeah.
So to pick up something that had a little slightly smaller scale, I was like, oh, I feel like a giant on this thing.
Yeah, it's so funny. When I bought this, I felt like maybe at the end of it being, it was all of a sudden they were getting popular again, and they were I've always heard about all the indie rockers in the 90s were buying these vintage Jazzmasters for nothing because nobody wanted them. And then all of a sudden they became synonymous with a bunch of sounds and stuff. And I feel like when I first started getting into the jazz master thing, the offset thing, it was like, well, they're not good like lead guitars. Like you don't play lead guitar on it, which was such like a really random thing to say.
So silly, right?
And then now you see like, they're just so popular. I see them in country music.
Yeah.
It's big in the indie rock thing. It's like this guitar in particular, I just find it to be so incredibly expressive. All the varying things that it can do with like the different pickup selections, the strings behind the bridge, the sound of the pickups specifically. There's just something about it that seems to have all these extra sounds in it that I don't think I get from the other guitars that I have. And so when I play it, there's that much more of a palette to choose from, you know, and it becomes that much more exciting in a sense where you're like, oh, this is like, I could do so many things, you know, and it's just really, I just love this guitar so much. I don't even think I realized it until I started maybe getting a couple other guitars, which were all great and do a thing, and they're like, they're perfect in the right scenarios. And then I would come back to this one and it was like, oh wow, like I can feel, I can feel it being like a conduit of something more.
Yeah.
And I was playing it last night and I had that same feeling. I was just like, oh, I can do these, you know, it just was like so much more open to the possibilities inside it. And like, yeah, just this guitar, I love it so much.
That's so fun. So now let's back up a second here. Like let's fill me in on kind of your backstory, because like
Sure.
I've known you as a hired gun in a handful of bands, and you're always crushing it regardless of what the role is or what the genre is or whatever. So,
yeah.
So I've always enjoyed like listening to you play in all these different contexts.
Thanks.
I believe we met when you were playing with Andy Palmer.
Yep.
And that was like kind of a cool Americana, kind of gritty, a little bit of rock, a little bit of blues, kind of a thing. And you were like so responsible for a huge part of that sound.
Oh, nice.
That was.
Right.
So I always enjoyed that.
Thanks.
Tell me like what kind of preceded that? Like what led you up to even that moment?
I mean, when I was young, I sort of tried some guitar lessons. I think I was in 7th grade, and it just didn't stick, you know. I don't think I had the discipline nor the like understanding of it, you know, to like care about it or take it seriously. So that was this sort of short-lived handful of months we tried it, you know, and it's like, I'm not taking this seriously. And then I kind of like, I just loved music though my whole life, and so then I tried a couple other things. So I tried drums a little bit, same thing, it didn't stick. And then I put down playing any instruments at all or even trying for pretty much all of my adolescence at that point. And then I was seeing so much live music and like just listening to more and more stuff that all of a sudden at some point it became like, well, like maybe I should try to play an instrument, you know, like I see these people doing it, looks so much fun. And so at that point, my brother had a bass guitar. I picked that up in my senior year of high school. I played bass guitar in the high school jazz band. And I had really no idea what I was doing. And I was thinking about this the other day, thinking about talking about it here. And I was like, I would go to band practice and the teacher, the jazz band teacher, he would have to spend so much time like with me specifically being like, okay, you're gonna put your finger here now. You're gonna go boom, 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 you know, and I think the class kind of hated that. And he really like helped me kind of like assimilate to like, okay, I'm playing an instrument, you know, with other people. And I think that was the sort of catalyst to like, oh, this is fun. I don't really know what I'm doing, but like, I'd love to do more. And then I bought a guitar, I was gifted a guitar right after high school I took a year off in between high school and college, and I got a guitar for the holidays and started kind of playing and just having fun with it. And then at some point when I was in college, I played a gig, like I was learning how to play, I was taking lessons, I played a gig, and at that point I remember playing one gig And it was just the most fun I had ever had in my entire life. And I had this moment of like, oh, there's like, this is it. Like there's everything is going to become about this. And I'm going to build a career off of it.
Oh, wow. You decided all that in that moment.
Yeah. And I just got very like serious about practicing and understanding that it was going to take a lot of work. And so did that, got a college degree like you're supposed to, told my parents, you know, it's like, okay, what are you going to do? It's like, well, I'm going to play guitar, which like you can imagine.
Were they
like,
thrilled?
They're kind of like, they were, I think, confused maybe because it wasn't something that I had grown up doing.
Okay.
So they were kind of like, where is this coming from? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean you're going to go play guitar for a living? Like, where does this even come from?
Oh, that's amazing.
And I think certainly a little apprehension. And I just went and got whatever, you know, job I could find in the service industry for the first handful of years when I was out of school. And I just was trying to figure out how to play guitar. And then at some point, a friend of mine was like, oh, you should come teach lessons at this lesson studio. And that was the sort of like transition where I started, you know, making any money playing guitar, and I could put the other jobs aside. And then the final thing was like, I basically was a songwriter at that point and was sort of working on my own thing. And that's where I met Andy. He opened up for like my solo project.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then he was the first person out of anybody to be like, well, would you want to come play guitar in my group? And that was the first time that anybody had asked me to play in anything.
That's cool.
And then that's when I started kind of like playing for other people. And
okay.
Yeah, especially at that point, I was just looking for any opportunity to play. So it was like so excited to get a chance to like try playing with anybody else. And then I started just kind of like thinking about it maybe differently too. It's like, oh, this is for somebody else, not like my thing.
There's like different set of pressures, but a different set of freedoms as well.
I think I got a little, at one point, I did start getting burned out on like having to make all the decisions, you know, with my own music. And it was like,
sure.
You know, the opportunity for someone to sort of give you a task. It was like, I really enjoyed that because it was very clear what I had to do, and I could just focus on that and less of the other stuff.
Sure.
And I do think that became something that, you know, maybe veered me towards more of it.
Love that. So, okay, so you played with Andy as a hired gun. So now, and you have your own band.
Yeah.
You've had your own band for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, long-ish. It's like, there was sort of post-college, there was so much like, well, how do you write a song? How do you record a song? How do you book a gig? How do you practice with a band? You know, it's like I did a little bit of that for sure, like booking and practicing in college. But it's like a lot of that information is not available to you. You know, it's like trial and error. You're like figuring it out. So there was all this time where I was building my own group, recording a solo record. Then I put that out, and then I started playing with Andy. But it just was like, yeah, it's like everything was, I just was learning so much and still am. But it was also like, I think because I didn't grow up playing music really at all, you know, it's like, I felt way behind. Everybody else was like, oh, I've been doing this since I was 11.
Right.
You know, it's like.
And you really got into it like in that, 18?
Yeah, like
18,
college, like
19.
20,
yeah,
I would
wow.
say. Yeah,
Wow.
so like, and it was like total crash course, you know. And I was really fortunate that I met some of my best friends that I still hang out with and play music with in college.
Okay.
And they were so good and so accomplished on their instruments, and they had all this all this experience. And I was like, oh, I'll just kind of like, I'll follow these guys around. Like, I'll learn a lot from them. And they really, you know, took me under their wing and kind of like showed me what to do and helped me learn. And it was like, that was that felt like a right place, right time scenario of like meeting these people. And there's something too, I always talk about this with them. It's like, they're still playing full time.
Okay.
Which is sort of crazy because a lot of the people I met at that point in my life, like they're not pursuing this like, professionally.
Okay.
So the fact that I had met these people that were really serious about it
At that time
when I was looking for it was really helpful, and was something that still to this day, it's like, we find things that I'm learning from, all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and to find people that are great at their craft, and it's a motivation and inspiration. But to be the least talented,
absolutely.
That's what it sounds like you're saying.
Absolutely.
To be the least talented person in the room, like that's a great place to find yourself.
Yes.
Knowing that you want to get great, and knowing that you can kind of take notes from all the people that are around you just crushing it.
Yeah, totally.
What a great opportunity.
Yeah, it really felt, again, right place, right time for what I was looking for. And to me, maybe the most important piece of the whole thing was meeting them.
That's awesome.
It's like that was the thing that really, like, I credit them for having a career at all.
Now, who are we talking about? Are these names I recognize?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the two guys are my buddy Eric Lowe, who plays drums,
okay,
and my buddy James Dumm, who's a fantastic, incredible guitar player.
Monster player,
both amazing musicians. And I met Eric in the dorms, 4 months into college at all.
Okay.
And then he grew up with James, so he introduced me to James maybe when I was a sophomore.
What a great guy to like see play and go, oh my gosh, look at this guy go.
I mean, again, it was just like, and these guys are both, pillars in the local scene, I would say, like guys that have been doing this and are serious about it and care about it and have great ability to. And it was just like meeting them was just incredible, and I'm so grateful that happened because I really credit the two of them for having a career. 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So now cut to today. Tell me about the projects you're involved with today.
So yeah, I've been playing with this guy named Dano Simpson. We made a record last year and I've been touring and playing with him. It's kind of in the like Americana rock sphere, I would say. And then I play in a band called King Cardinal, which I've been playing with them for maybe the last 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
It sort of started more in the Americana realm. That we have our third record coming out, which has a lot more like synths and other stuff in it. Okay. It's definitely a bit of a departure from some of the earlier stuff. And we're headlining the Bluebird on January 16th, which is exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then I play with a bunch of other like singer-songwriters. I play with a wonderful singer-songwriter named Hunter Stone, who I just think is fantastic. He's just great, really cool music. Occasionally, I kind of play my own gigs. I do a lot of like working gigs too, just like covers and whatever scenario.
Okay, sure.
So I'll play anything from solo acoustic to a trio to larger bands. And then sort of maybe interspersed, I'll play in a couple different cover acts. I'm in a Radiohead cover act, which is really fun. Occasionally I play in a Rage Against the Machine cover act.
Okay. You gotta have the right gear for that.
Yeah.
Same with Radiohead, I guess.
Which of course I took it upon myself to justify buying it. I was like, well, I need it for work.
Like, well, I need that Digitech whammy.
Exactly, yeah. And then, sometimes I kind of do like more stuff in the jam, band, funk sphere, kind of just with various players.
What's your favorite genre to play?
I really enjoy all of it. I think as long as it's a band dynamic, I've kind of learned, like, I like playing solo acoustic, it's fun, but the like interacting with other musicians and that sort of collective sound, that to me is like the thing I'm always seeking. And but I really enjoy playing Americana music these days. It's like there's sort of the textures and the focus on songwriting I really enjoy. And then on the same kind of the other end of it. It's like I do like getting a chance to stretch out a bit more with the funky kind of like more maybe solo focused music where it's like I get a chance to just explore that. So I don't know. I do feel like I kind of like it all. And
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, you definitely have really solid like blues and rock and Americana chops. But now I've also heard you play jazz.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a stretch for me to say that I'm playing jazz. I've tried my best to learn various vocabulary to feel like I at least have an understanding of what to do in a genre, and it's like jazz is one of those things where I think to be a really great jazz guitarist, you really there's so much to that, and I would not put myself in that realm. But I've taken time to explore some of it and learn about it and try to have some ability with that vocabulary to kind of I've got a couple moves here that I can play.
I think you just basically described everybody I know.
Yeah.
It was I wouldn't call myself a jazz player.
Yeah, I think it's
there's so much to know in order to be ultra proficient.
Right. And I think out of respect for the people that do it so well, it's I would never put myself in that category. Yeah. But, I also out of respect for the genre too, it's I want to learn a little bit about it and have a sense of what is this and how do you do this and stuff like that. And that's something I feel like I've always tried to do with lots of different music,
Yeah.
Just kind of get a wider skill set.
It's interesting because the older I get, the more I really love those just simple, inherent guitar amp combination tones.
Yeah,
and just very subtle, effects. When I was younger, I was the more effects, the better. Now I'm just dude, I just want a spring reverb, a little bit of slapback delay, and give me a cool tone. And I'm loving life,
It's funny you say that. I read about people feeling this way and talk to other people, but it's you also when you're young, you start with there's a lot of everything in your signal. It's tons of gain and tons of delay and as much chorus as I can get on it.
Yes.
And then you progressively get less and less. It's just a little bit of the seasoning, just a little bit of that goes a long way. And it's I think sometimes when you maybe buy pedals or something, it's the sort of inclination is turn it all to 10 and that's the sound that you get out of it. And then you learn later, you're well, actually just a little bit is goes a long way.
I mean, when you describe it as the seasoning, and I know that you love to cook.
Yes.
And so you draw the cooking analogies a lot, which I love and I can relate because I don't like cooking on a daily basis where it's we just got to knock something out. The kids need some, some protein and some fruit and here it is.
Yeah.
There's other days when I'm we're going to go to the store.
Yeah, totally.
We're going to go buy all these ingredients. We're going to work half a day to make a great barbecue ribs or a seafood dish or something. So I love that you have that analogy with the cooking thing because you look at cooking similar the way I do.
I think
it's art. It's art.
It
can
is.
certainly be artistic creation,
It's a way that I kind of maybe think about all this stuff too, as far as
they're ingredients, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've heard people talk about it as colors, imagine painting a picture with only having 2 colors.
Yeah.
But then imagine what you can paint when you have all the various colors and all the different shades of it. It's you can get more nuanced and stuff. And I think that's what some of this feels like to me with the different guitars and the different amp styles and the different all of it. It's just sort of it becomes very nuanced and you can really get into these cool spaces with it. And I think when I'm recording especially, it's I'm always thinking about that. It's what's the amp that's good for this sound? And what's the guitar combination? What is that perfect formula that it needs? And it's, you don't need it, but it's very fun.
Oh my gosh.
To do.
Well, it's so inspiring to be able to dial in the exact voice you want.
Yeah.
For me, it'd be analogous to if you were an actor and you were ooh, I want to have the perfect British voice.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
you could channel that actor and put that plug in and be dunk, and then all of a sudden you get to perform with that voice or that loudness or that presence or something. I learned on an acoustic guitar.
Right.
And the day you plug in the electric, you know, and you're like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, my presence just, I get why people love it.
Yeah.
But then now you got to like put in all that like wood shedding
Right.
to learn the craft and try to like do it with tact and artistry. And
Yeah.
that's a whole nother mountain to climb, but it's exciting.
That's definitely something too. You've got to be weary of, and I'm very guilty of this, but getting caught up in the, oh, I need this and I want this and I want to try this. It's like, it does sort of deflect from learning something else on the instrument, and instead of the gear being the thing, it's like what you're playing. I started taking lessons again in the last like year and a half.
Smart.
And it's like, it's the most inspiring and exciting thing that I've done for my playing, you know, maybe ever, because at this point, like I've done, you know, I've like been able to like play and do a bunch of different things, and like now going back and really digging in way further into this stuff. It's like when I finish a lesson with somebody, I'm just so fired up. You know, it's like, it's the best feeling where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just learned. Like, you know, it's just like my mind is blown, and it really feels exciting to kind of get back into that space with it, where it's like, I'm learning again, and you know, you're a student and it's hard, and it's like, oh, this isn't really coming together, but like knowing this is really cool, and like, when can I incorporate it? It's just,
I love that you do that, and I love that you admit it too, because a lot of guys aren't really forthcoming with the fact that like, I'm learning from someone else. But it's hands down the smartest thing you could do.
It's the best.
Because there's always something to learn, and there's always someone who's doing, you know, a slice of it better than you are. So
absolutely.
Find that person, see what they can teach you. Like I was chatting with Stu Miller the other day, and he says, I'm only really interested in teaching people who are serious about what they're doing.
I get that.
And I understand that too. And I thought, well, this is fun because I'd love to sit down and take a few lessons with him. I mean, he's a fantastic player. You're a fantastic player. I would love to sit down with you for a few lessons and be like, dude, challenge me in a way that I'm not thinking about things. Because as I move through my musical progression, I find there's always a new angle to look at something from.
Yeah.
And if I had known when I was a kid that in order to have a mastery of music, you really need to be able to see it from every single angle. You know, whether it's just the intervals that make up a scale, or what the reverse of that scale is, or how, you know, you can apply those as modes, or think of them as colors, or do the ear training, or read the notes, or, you know, do complex harmony arrangements and all that. Like, so many different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
And to really understand every little sliver, like that is the musical journey I want to continue on.
I can't encourage anybody enough to like take lessons. It's like, you know, peeling back the curtain on things is just like, it's just so enjoyable. You know, I really have always enjoyed practicing and learning, and it's like working with somebody else. It's like, they just invert my brain constantly, and I'm just like, oh my, it's like, it opens up all these possibilities, because I do think it's very easy to get stuck in your, you know, your sort of what you like to do, your comfort zones. I teach a lot of my students have their comfort zones. I certainly have them.
Sure.
And it's like, it takes a lot to break out of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just am always going to be up for the journey of it and the work of it, because you get so much out of it.
When I was in my probably mid-20s, I noticed Adrian Romero. I took lessons with him because I noticed he was such a phenomenal, just multi-genre, you know, instrumentalist, really. Guitar was his primary thing, but he could do all kinds of like mandolin and bass and stuff.
Awesome.
And so I took a few lessons with him, and he would do funny things like specifically set a roadblock in the middle of like a specific exercise.
Oh yeah.
To force you to think a different way. So he'd be like, here's this riff, I'm gonna play this chord cadence, and you solo over the top of it, but only use one string, go.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, I'm only supposed to play on the one string, okay. Or he'd be like, don't use the middle part of your fretboard, only the bottom part and the top part, and try to like bounce around and make it feel seamless. And so just like throw those strategic roadblocks in there. I would have never thought to do that on my own.
Yeah.
Had someone else not thrown that at me. So
Yeah.
And I guess it's just one example of how someone else can just kind of force you to like think of something just slightly different, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's funny too, though, like, at least with Western music, it's like there's only 12 notes, but the possibilities are so endless.
Yes.
And it's like, even if you were to spend 24 hours a day, your entire life practicing on the instrument, it's like you can only really cover like so much. It's like, and I kind of like love that it's like so expansive. And it's just like, I think if you enjoy playing, I think everybody kind of feels like, oh wow, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that. And like you said, it's like it sort of takes being forced into that position to start growing as a player, and how you think about things, and like, it's just the best.
Another one of my favorite things to do is just be across from somebody else who's got a very similar goal in mind.
Yeah.
And just seeing how they approach it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, so one thing I like doing these Friday favorite licks. Like I love taking like a song that kind of either just caught my ear or shaped an aspect of my playing like growing up, and just kind of doing like a little bit of a deeper dive on it.
Yep.
And trying to explore it with now a little, hopefully more mature perspective. And
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
looking back at that and being like, oh, here's some different things to extract out of that maybe weren't obvious
Yeah.
the first time I was exposed to it.
Yeah.
So I would love it. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
But I would love for you to maybe take a lick
Yeah.
that you think, there's something that kind of shaped you growing up, something that was like influential to you, or even something that like is a byproduct of, being exposed to a certain idea or concept or something.
Like, how when you pick up the guitar, you always play something?
Totally.
So these concepts and this stuff that I've been playing more of and like working on, or just trying to integrate it into what I do, this is the stuff I tend to play. It's very like, I think where I started on the instrument especially was, you were saying, like blues based. It's like I grew up listening to classic rock in my house.
Cool.
That was the thing that like I feel like that was it. So the kind of like maybe earliest lick that I had that I still play some variation of it is like total pentatonic, blues bend type of stuff. And it's just sort of like you can do it everywhere, but if I'm in B, I just tend to... But it's just, it's just basic like bending up and then just sort of resolving back to the one or another chord tone or something. And I find myself I start with that a lot. Or I like end with it.
Now, when you say you start with that, do you mean the first moment you like pick up a guitar just to like get your sound
No, like
going?
in like a solo.
Oh,
Like
gotcha.
I might,
Okay.
if it's in minor or something, like that might be the opening thing I'll play to get me into more stuff.
Which is smart, because there's things to consider. Like when you're going into that solo mode, you're like, am I the right level? Am I the right tone?
Yeah.
Am I in tune? So does that give you a chance to like think through those things during that moment where you're doing a familiar lick?
I almost think it like, it's funny, I haven't thought about that. I think it is more like dipping your toes in the water and easing yourself in.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, I know this. It's gonna work.
Okay.
I'm used to playing it.
Sure.
And it's just a way to like get myself into the space. And then on the other hand, it's like if I kind of play it at the end of something, it might be a way where I'm just, okay, I'm like wrapping up, let's play something that's gonna kind of finalize this for me. It's like, it just is a way that I'm kind of like bookending the idea. So I feel like that becomes, just like an entry, it can be like an entry or an exit point. And then a lot of the times I am always trying, like if that's my entry point or exit point, in the middle, it's like I'm trying to play as much melody and like listen and just almost get away from the licks sometimes.
Sure.
It's like I'm trying to, really the older I get, I'm like trying to build as much melody as possible.
Love it.
Things that you can latch onto. And it doesn't mean that I'm not, filling in space with other stuff, but it's like, I think some of my favorite guitar players are at points so melody heavy, and I like hearing that in a solo where it's not just moving your fingers, which is great too, but it's like I like getting that interspersed, it kind of gives you something to latch onto before you jump to the next idea.
I remember Paul Moose had said something to me when I was a young kid and he was going in for some kind of like college audition kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he says that he got the highest marks of anybody of that day because of one of the solos he played was so melody oriented as opposed to just being like riff or licks. Yeah. And that really turned on a light bulb in my head, and you just hit the nail and drove it home.
The other thing that I've been playing a lot, I think maybe the concept almost comes from like piano, where you have like notes that are sustaining and then there's other notes that are happening. So like I tend to sit around when I first pick up the guitar, I almost always do this. But it's like I've been playing more chordal ideas with movements inside. So like, just stuff like that, where it's like I'm basically like trying to build stuff where it doesn't feel so single notey all the time. Yep. And I think especially in the Americana sphere, that's like, it's like textural and creating like sort of stuff behind maybe the other person. So I just tend to do a lot of and just cascading. And just having it ringing where you kind of get this movement and stuff. So it becomes a lot of double stops, a lot of like chords. And then on top of that, I've really gotten into knowing your triads across all three strings.
So important.
So it's like, this is like almost baritone-y.
Yeah, love it.
And then you kind of like work your way up. So if I'm playing all low strings for that kind of baritone thing, and knowing all the inversions across every set of strings. So I'm just playing in C right there. So then it'd be. And then you can go to the next set of strings. And then you're finally on the bottom. And in the variance of knowing those triads, you get all these different colors that you can use to improvise, to connect things, and just kind of like, I can use bright, which doesn't necessarily mean bridge pickup. It's like, where am I sitting on the range of the strings versus dark? And so that becomes something that I think I use a lot, especially like accompanying other people. Sure. Or if I'm in like a trio setting where it's just me, it's like I can fill a lot of sound. Whoops. Just kind of using that stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's something, it's, I've got a lot of mileage out of it since learning it, and I'm trying to integrate it into the lead thing where not everything is just, which I love too. Sure. But it's like you sort of, I feel like you're only accessing one piece of it.
Yeah.
And I really just kind of enjoyed working that in more.
But you're thinking about it in terms of concepts.
Yeah.
So the more you work through that, the faster your recall of those things are, and then it becomes really a lot easier to then turn it into something where you're like, in real time, going like,
Yeah.
oh, I can kind of shift through all this stuff and work with other musicians. And that's when it gets really exciting, right?
Yeah. And I think what I was saying earlier too, it's like, I'm not thinking licks, I'm just thinking about like what the idea is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so someone's like, oh, play a lick. I'm like, I don't know if I have
I'm
a lot
that
of
guy,
licks.
today I'm that guy. Play me a lick.
Well, it's great. It's like good for me to like think about like what are my licks. And I know they're in there, but it's like, I'm just constantly, my brain is tending to think about a concept and what is the concept, how is it used, where can it be used, and what are the variations maybe inside that.
Sure.
And that I think becomes really just how I think about playing.
Yeah, it's very cerebral, and it becomes the key piece on how to apply the right amount of color into the mix and everything. It's funny, I sat down with the young guy, he's 16 years old, love him to death. He's an amazing, bass player and guitar player. He came over and for 45 minutes he entertained me with all these, these popular licks of artists. And it was a nonstop stream.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you know any popular licks? And I was like, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm so in the mind space of trying to create something original.
Yeah.
But I was like, in the same way that it sounds like you reference your knowledge as you go, well, I'm thinking in terms of concepts. Like, give me a context. And now I'll be able to apply something and do something musical. But I liked what he was presenting, and I liked that he had all these like cool riffs. And I was like, there is something to be learned.
I mean,
from analyzing all these riffs.
Absolutely.
It's what started me down the path of doing this Friday Favorite Licks. I was like, I'm going to go back and analyze, these licks and things and look at it from a different perspective. And it's been fun.
I'll say this too. It's like, we talked about the cooking analogy. The way I see it, maybe in a sense for other people to think about it, is like, I think so if you go out, you learn a bunch of licks from, it's like, oh, I learned this whole Comfortably Numb David Gilmour solo. Incredible. One of my all-time favorites, To me, it's kind of like reading a cookbook. It's like tells you what to do. And you're like, oh, I just do this, and then I do this, and then I add these things, and then I get, to the end of that, and I have the product, or I have like the dish.
Right.
And then there's a totally different thing about like learning how to cook, how to understand like when is something too much. Oh, it's too much heat, or like I put too much salt in. It's like, or I didn't put enough in, or I didn't, do X and Y correctly. It's like learning how to cook, you can expand on that, and you can find like what your taste and flavor is. And reading from a cookbook, which is amazing, and you can learn how to cook doing that, absolutely. But it does become sort of like, you're attached to like a formula, right. Whereas like learning how to, learning what to do, to me feels more expansive. It feels less focused in a way or something. And then you asked me about licks, which, I said I don't feel super lick heavy as a player. I don't know if you want to play for a second too. I'll set up the.
What do you need?
Whatever. I mean, whatever. Something just kind of just. What would you play? I guess I'll put it in the context of like, if I don't know what is the music, it's like I probably use this stuff even more because it's like a comfort zone. So it's like I always play this because I'm like, oh, I don't really know what's going on with this tune. We're gonna play a couple things that I know will fit, and like I'll get it. What you choose to do, no matter what, even if you don't believe it or you're trying to do something else, is totally unique to you because your influences, your combination of what you like is only found in you. And so whatever when you pick up the guitar and you play that one thing, it's like you're the only person in the entire universe that does that. And so it's kind of cool.
You make it feel so special.
But it's cool because it's like it gives you this sense of like, well, this is mine, this is me, this is my fingerprint on the instrument. And it's like, I think most people are always wanting to find that. It's like, and you kind of have to lean into like, oh, this is what I do, and like, and embrace it, even if it maybe is like, you might be surprised what it is.
Well, I think that's why like signature sounds for specific artists
Yeah.
works so well. Because it's like when you hear somebody play, like in a moment, if you heard like an Eric Johnson, you're like, oh, that's Eric Johnson.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, Eddie
And
Van
it's so
Halen,
cool.
Yeah. But I feel like the goal would be come up with a signature sound, come up with a signature thing that's uniquely you. That's not the easiest task in the world.
I think it might be the hardest.
But it's a great goal.
Yeah. I think is it Miles Davis who said it? He's like, the hardest thing to do is sound like yourself.
Yes.
It's
Ooh,
like,
well
it's
said, yes.
so, it's near impossible. And the people that have done it, I think you like, at some point too, you may have to abandon certain things that you may like to do.
Yes.
In the process of finding your thing. And that is like, that takes like that takes an effort on your behalf to like recognize it and say, okay, I gotta like do this. And like, I'm gonna stop playing this, or I'm gonna stop using this effect that I love, in order to find my thing. And I feel like that's something I'm still working on, very much so. And it's so hard to like, because it's fun to play the stuff that you love.
Oh, totally. Because you've got it perfected.
It's like, oh, I learned the Gilmore solo. I'm going to play one of the melodies from the Gilmore solo in this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But in recognizing that in my younger self, I was like, okay, I kind of need to unlearn and step away from all the things that were the cover music, were the cover licks, all that stuff, and just sit down and be like, I'm going to make something. Maybe it's going to start with that note. And what's it going to be?
Yeah.
And kind of try to work with a collection of notes and make it do something.
Yeah. So I'll do mine that is probably honestly not, it's funny after talking about this, it's probably not inherently me. It's something that I definitely picked up from somebody else, but it's like, it does become a part of my fingerprint, and it's like, for better or for worse, I just play it all the time. So you pick a key, you play something, and I'll kind of interject.
Okay, this is so funny. I love this. So I'm gonna actually give a little bit more presence and clarity. I actually didn't spend too much time dialing any.
I'll make sure I'm not
amp tone here.
super loud here
But
too.
I will play you what I probably pick up and play 9 times out of 10 when I pick up a guitar.
That's great because
Which
now
is so funny because now I'm gonna do it, and then from this moment on, I'll probably never make it my go-to thing anymore. It's just based on a 1-4-5 in G, which was probably goes way back to probably the first blues song I ever learned. But
and it's funny about this too. You say G, and now I'm just realizing that I also have maybe things like an approach or a riff that I'll play based on the key.
Yeah.
So like if you start playing, I'll play the thing that I would always play in G, and then I'll put in the other lick real quick, and then string,
But what genre changed what you're about to play though?
It will, but it only changes it maybe in the sense of like how the phrasing is. I'm like, I'll still play the notes.
Well, let's do it as an experiment, Ken. I told you what chords I'm going to play, but I haven't told you what genre.
Well, I guess you said 1-4-5, so I just assumed it's going to be like bluesy.
That could be blues. It could be rock.
Yeah,
it could
great.
Be reggae,
yeah, that's a good point.
Right?
That's a good point.
So like if I were to just pick this up and go like, so I don't know. I always think like the kind of to the chicken picking thing.
Oh yeah. So I would, if you play that, the first thing I'm going to do for sure. Here, I'll let you play.
Some bends, I hope. I hope you.
I love the double stop.
Yes. Yes.
And kind of like getting that right away. It's like a way of kicking it off. Or whatever, it's like, so that'll be my first thing. But then I'll play the lick that I would play pretty much whatever, I'll just fit it into this context.
So funny. All right, here we go.
So that right there is like where I always kind of start.
Yeah.
I think when it's something that I don't know what we're gonna play, or it's the first time I've played something, because it's like the least amount of barrier to expressing. You know, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go here. It's like, in this case, I'm playing ideas rooted off first position pentatonic.
Yep.
You know, relative major, essentially. It's like I'm building it off of an E, but it's like I'm in G. And it just is the fastest way for me to get my bearings.
Yes.
So is it the most exciting? Is it the coolest? Is it like that great? Probably not.
But is it correct? Yeah.
It's correct. Yeah. It's correct. And it's like the fastest way for me to, again, like, just where am I at right now? Where is this? And then once I've sort of like put that out there and played a little, then I can start to like jump to other stepping stones that like feel appropriate or like are things that I like to do. So it becomes, yeah, it's like I use the analogy of just dipping my toes in the water.
Yeah.
Feel out the temperature,
yeah.
Then we'll wade in a little further.
You articulated well, and then you exercised it well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's also, it's like, you're like, I know this is gonna work. Like, I just need something that I need it to just have a proven track record. Totally. You know, especially when it's the first thing, because I have so many gigs where it's music I've never played before. It's the, you know, we did maybe a rehearsal if I'm lucky, and I've got to be able to play. And so, you know, I'm just like, we're just path of least resistance here.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. No, it's great. So if I was to do it, if I was to go, okay, same chords, but we're gonna do like a.
Yeah, great. So I'll play like the exact same thing. Just, I guess in my head, I'm like, so I'll do the first part. And then up here. And then it's like right after I sort of played these two licks, or the things that I find as my entry point, it's like, then I start to feel more comfortable to think less inside the box, start integrating concepts, and feel like there is, you know, there's no bumpers like you're playing, like you're bowling.
Right.
It's like now I can explore and look for things and not feel worried about, am I in the right place with stuff? I mean, I feel like I could apply it to just about anything too. It's like, you know, it's not a bad thing to have comfort zones. It's like you want something that makes you feel relaxed. The minute you feel relaxed, you're gonna play the best you're gonna play.
Agreed.
So getting rid of that barrier, you know, it's like, you know, with people watching, even like recording, you know, it's like a little weird. You're like, you get the red light fever thing that people talk about. It's just trying to feel settled so you can play and become yourself and feel good is like, that's the goal. But in order to get there, there's, you know, it's not a bad thing to find an entry point that feels good for you. So you can set yourself up to feel solid, and having a comfort zone, having licks or ideas that you're used to playing that feel easy to do is a perfect way to like get there.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, after 4 bars or whatever, it's like you're there, and then you start playing things that you never play, and it's like, I hope I remember that for the next time I do it, you know.
Better hope you got a recorder somewhere.
Yeah.
Recording something.
So like that becomes the goal, you know.
So to be that guy, it's a great skill set to have, to be the hired gun who can show up and do that.
Yeah.
I personally really come alive and love like the studio environment.
Yeah.
Where, you know, allow yourself to have as many takes as you want and just experiment and get wild with it and find out how extreme you can go with it, and then maybe you want to dial it back or whatnot. I really love that space.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more of the guy in the moment, because I made it a goal of mine probably 10 plus years ago. I was like, I would love to be able to sit down with anybody, anywhere, anytime, and be able to like communicate musically, just like jump in and go for it.
Yeah.
those are the tools you use to kind of like get into that zone and allow it to be a comfortable conversation, and then you can kind of start to play and experiment, add seasoning. And
Well, it's funny too, just a minute ago, I'm maybe even too aware of it, but like, I can feel a shift inside myself, like just in the seconds that we play together. It's like the first part's a little, it's like I'm rushing or something or whatever it is. And then the minute that I sort of get through those first couple bars, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like now my dynamics are better. It's like not digging in so much. It's like I feel myself sort of shift, and it's like, then it really becomes even better, you're like, oh, this feels like great, and it's it's just that, it's that kind of getting there to start.
Those initial moments are a wild ride.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
whoa, slippery skates.
I don't know, like you're like what you said it perfectly earlier. It's like, you're like, well, you don't know what I'm going to play. And it's so funny because I was like, oh, it's going to be like a, like kind of like bluesy, funky or something like that. I did not expect, the kind of like more country. And I was like, oh, okay, like I guess we're doing this now, like, and that can throw you. And so you're like, all right, well, like now I got to do it right now. And it's like, it's a great thing to learn. And it's also something that you've got to condition yourself to like be okay with that,
For sure. Yeah. Like walking into that fire and being like, it's all gonna work out.
Yeah, you're like,
just don't let the emotion take over.
Just play the lick that it's gonna work.
Find that clear moment where you're like, oh, okay, this is where the clarity is. And hopefully that's a lick. I mean, that's the whole reason to be studying, the scales and the relatives and all the stuff.
Yeah.
So you've got a good kind of entry point. But still acclimating to the tempo and the style and the dynamics and what's the other person playing, where are they busy, where I shouldn't be, and all that stuff.
I know, maybe I'm like, I don't know if this is just my weird,
I think it's great.
I'm like highly aware of it all the time.
It's so good.
But it's something also that like, it becomes the kind of final thing I'll say is like, I think people can get really locked into focusing on the instrument itself, which is of course, at the centerpiece of all of it and what do you play on it. But I've personally found a lot of help by understanding my own stuff, like myself. It's like, oh, how do I feel in these scenarios? And like, what's the fastest way to get me into my space that's gonna emote and kind of like come up with ideas. And it's something that I started becoming really aware of in the last 5 or 6 years, where it was like the barrier was not necessarily me or my ability. The barrier was like myself getting in the way. And so I started really being aware of it and like trying to understand like, what are these things, and I've heard other people talk about it, and it's just like, I don't even think you think about that at first. And then you're like, why am I like, I'm getting stuck on this. Like, why? What is that? And so that becomes another thing to practice and like think about. And
so much nuance.
I know. It's
just a never-ending journey.
Yeah, it really is.
Which is so fun.
It's crazy.
This is cool. Well, I appreciate you coming over and spending time here today. And
this is amazing.
And bringing over some gear and just being present.
Yeah.
And being open to this. I know it's not the most comfortable thing to walk into. You're like, we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I'm just going to go for it.
I get up early and you're like, okay, we're going to do this. If there's ever a bonus episode, I will nerd out on the gear stuff even more too, if you ever want.
Oh, dude, I would love that.
And I love watching other people do it. So maybe it's a very, there's a small demographic of people that like it, but I'm in there.
Oh, man, it's so fun. And there's so many boutique manufacturers of pedals. Like, it's endless.
Yes.
So before we part ways, though, I know you've got an album coming out, and you guys, so there's a CD release party in January. Was it
January 16th? Yep, with King Cardinal.
Bluebird?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
Is there anything else we need to throw out there so people are aware?
I'm trying to think. I'm definitely going to be on tour next year with Dano Simpson, which I'm really enjoying, and great music. Really proud of the record we made, so I would encourage people to check that out.
Very cool.
And look for dates on that. I'm kind of always playing, anywhere 3 to 5 nights a week. I probably should be better at promoting a lot of it, but I've got a standing gig in Boulder with Hunter Stone, my buddy I mentioned, at License Number 1 on Thursdays. So if you're up in that area,
very cool.
Come check that out. Yeah, and honestly, next year, I'm certainly expecting to just keep working on all this and, hopefully see people out. And, to the credit of what we're talking about today, it's like, I'd love to chat with anybody about this,
Yeah,
so
cool.
if you see me out and you want to nerd out on some gear or talking about it, I'm all about it.
Thanks again. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I look forward to having you out again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Cheers.